Well, that kind of sucked. Too bad I didn't plan for that. Then it would have been awesome. Somehow I get the feeling I'm going to need that. Alright, so after all that spill shenanigans, I tried to get right back to it. I've got 5 coats. This is the underside of the top. I got 5 coats on everything. And I'm just going to stop there for tonight. This is the back side of the door. This is the underside of the top. And I still have to catch the edges of the drawer fronts. But when I do the top of the top, I'm going to do it a little bit differently than the rest of the cabinet. I'm going to lay the layers on this pretty thick so that the top gets a darker, deeper, rich, makes it stand out a little bit more. So that's it for tonight. Alright, so I am ready to start putting shellac on the top surface of the top. And I'll go ahead and build this up to 6 fairly thick coats. It's going to make it quite a bit darker than the rest of it, but I'm going to come back and rub this out. So we're going to eat back into that a little bit. I'm going to let that sit for probably 5 minutes. It's about all I give it. And I have been known to help it along. Just take a little piece of plywood and I'll wave the surface. Get that alcohol evaporating. And as soon as the whole surface starts to look dull, slightly dull, I'm going to hit it with another coat. And that's how I can get 6 coats of shellac on this thing in under an hour. Alright guys, so doing this the way I do it, there is a risk. And it bit me this time. So as I was brushing the other coats, it started to release the coats underneath it. And this is the first time that's ever happened to me, but I mean, I knew it was a possibility. So anyway, I just took a rag soaked in alcohol and wiped this whole side, because it only happened right here. So I wiped this whole side clear. So now I'm just going to start building these coats back up to match this side. And I'll blend it in. So I'm going to let this side right here set up for a good little bit. So I'll just start laying on coats on this side. And hopefully I can salvage this thing. Alright. So I've almost got this thing blended out. So this line right here that you can see in the camera, I'm going to let this side set up some. I'll be fanning it and all that stuff. So when I come back with my next coats, and I'll blend the center out a little better. So in the meantime, to give this a little bit more time and to kind of control my anxiousness to get on with it, I'm doing the poles over here in the clamp. If it'll focus there. Yeah. So I'm trying to force myself to slow down here because I know how impatient I am. So I'm doing the poles in between and just trying to be really careful with them. Alright, so this is the point where I start wanting to really move forward with the top. So I'm gonna have to learn some patience, y'all. This taught me a lesson. So yeah, I'm learning lessons here, and you get to see it. Alright, so I was trying to fix a bad spot and it just kept getting worse. So I just dissolved all the finish off the top. I'm going to start over with the top. So the underside is still good. No one's ever going to see that anyway. So this is the surface I'm worried about. So I went ahead and used my washout jar of alcohol to dissolve away the vast majority of it. I mean, there's of course still some embedded in the grain, but there's no real finish on here. So I'm gonna knock this back with some sandpaper because now the surface is a little bit rough. And I'm gonna start over. I was out of my mix, so I mixed up another jug right here. This is going to take a couple days to dissolve anyway. Usually, well, the last ones I was doing a 1 pound cut and it dissolved completely in about 24 hours. This is a 1.5 pound cut. I won't have to do as many coats is what I'm shooting for. So, but this, sorry, I was about to turn a pin to try to slow me down when I finally decided to just nuke it. But not including the top, this is what it looks like. I'm really happy with it. The finish still isn't as dark as I wanted it to be, but I do like the finish. It's pretty nice. So I still have not made this shelf right here, but I'm kind of digging this little cabinet. And I will be extremely happy when it is done.
No.